Get the microphone turned on. There you go.
So what did you guys think of the hive inspections today? Were they informative? Were they too chaotic? Did you get to see what you wanted to see? No. Thumbs up, thumbs down. All right, good. For those of you who didn't have an opportunity to see it, I have put the keeper's hive in the club apiary, and it's a variation on the Langstroth where it's only 8 frames deep and there's no lifting, and you hardly even need a hive tool because there are little brackets that go over the end of the frame so that bees can't propolize them. So you can sit and inspect your hive. So if you're tired of lifting heavy stuff, or if you've got back, shoulder, wrist, knee problems, this might be the hive for you. So let me know, and I do inspections. I'll probably do in another 7 or 10 days. I'll be in the hives again. So if you would like to participate and do the inspection with me, let me know at the end of the meeting.
Could you maybe post that on the Facebook groups?
Oh, no. No, I don't want
randos coming.
Yeah.
Because there's people that anybody can go on the Facebook group. It's not just.
Yeah. So if you would like to
Not
be
members.
contacted, or I can do an email to paid members.
Okay.
Yeah. I just don't want 50 people showing up.
Yeah.
The VIP invite.
That's right.
Nicole, what time of day would that be?
As soon as it hits about 69 degrees, so it's probably going to be around 11 o'clock. We don't have a whole lot in terms of announcements and things, so I'm going to be presenting the announcements and. Oh yeah, I'll get to that. And then Kevin's going to give a presentation about queen rearing and swarm cells and all that you need to know. As a reminder, if you need a mentor, you're a paid member, you get that personalized mentoring, and you can have that mentoring as long as you need it. So please send an email to Henry. And we are in desperate need of more mentors. We don't have enough. So you don't have to be an expert. You're just there to help someone get comfortable with all the nuances, but you don't have to have all the answers on how to do everything. So don't hesitate to be a mentor. Reminder that to register your hives. How many of you register your hives with the state? All right, good. We need everyone to have their hives registered. It's important because if there's a disease outbreak, they'll notify you. And you know that, I need to, even though you were in your hive maybe 4 days ago, you need to get back in your hive and start specifically looking for that, whatever the physical aspects of that disease are. It is not easy to use their website. It has been under construction for several years now, so I don't even bother. I just call. And then you just give them the information, they fill it out, and you're done within like 5 or 6 minutes. Super
I
easy.
think they updated it, because I did it a week and a half ago, and it was super easy.
Yeah.
It's really fun.
I will agree with that.
I think they fixed it.
Oh, all right.
I think that.
Well, then that.
They took down the construction cones.
Yeah. And then when you are a paid member, or your hives are registered, everybody should have gotten one of these postcards. This is for Salt Lake County, and every county gets a different set of dates where you'll have. Not all counties have inspectors, but Peter Somers is Salt Lake County bee inspector, and then Jenna and Joey will come out. And even if you don't have a problem, it is super instructive to have them come out and look at your hive with you because they are so knowledgeable. I learn something new every time I have them come out. So
Claudia, wasn't she?
Claudia was working with Peter, so she can still come out. She is also a really great resource. She's just not technically a Salt Lake County inspector.
Okay.
But yes, she is working with Peter. All right, so we have some stuff coming up. We have a Ladybug Festival. This is a hoot. It is kids jacked up on sugar and super excited because they've gotten butterflies and ladybugs that they were able to release, and the energy is super high and the time just flies. And so we need 6 volunteers. Here is the form. I'm just going to pass it around. If you'd like to be involved, sign up. We have been doing this, I think, six or 7 years, and we have just about all the same things that we have at the fair. Except we have the small observation hive, we have the photo booth, we usually have honey sticks. Kids ask you, answer some kind of question about bees, and you hand out honey sticks to add to the intensity of the event, and it's a lot of fun. And then we have another event we've never participated before. This is the Redview Gardens and Arboretum, and this is their first year of our pollinator party. And so all sorts of interesting events that are going to be happening there. A variety of nonprofit vendors like ourselves. And so if you would like to help out, here's the sign-up sheet. We just need 4 volunteers.
Nicole,
yes.
what is the location of these events?
So this is in Daybreak,
Okay.
and then this is at Redview Gardens. And yeah, so Daybreak's a bit of a drive from here, but some people travel quite a distance to get up here. And yes, I forgot to put the location. This should have been in our newsletter, but it didn't quite get out with everything in it this month. So I will be sending out an email that has all the specifics. And if later on you find out that you've got an opening in your calendar, send an email to wasatchbeekeepers@gmail.com, and we'll get you signed up.
What's the background on the pollinator party? Why are they doing it? Is there an organization?
Big plans, it might be huge
No,
plans.
Yeah, I don't know why they decided to add that to their repertoire. It's a free event, free community event, I believe. Yeah, I don't know. Good question.
What happens at the Ladybug Festival?
Sugar.
So it's catered towards children, probably 13 and under.
Okay.
And there's all sorts of face painting and make a ladybug, dragonfly, there are crafts, there's music, there's little contests, there's our booth. They've got booths where they hand out seeds, native seeds. Sometimes they have like little plants that they hand out that people can get. So it's probably going to be similar to the pollinator party in terms of
So
centered around
essentially
plants and pollinators.
raising awareness with a lot of fun.
Yes,
I like Fest, but not.
yeah. And it is, there's so many people, so many children, that you don't even have time to think about what time it is. Because the first time I did it, it's like, oh, it's a long day, but it's not, it just, they were like that, and it's a lot of fun.
The pollinator party, it says kids will create an insect hotel, get their face painted with pollinator-inspired designs, enjoy fun yard games, and then there will be enchanting tales from a professional storyteller. How to make your backyard a haven for bees, butterflies, and other pollinators. That's the scoop.
Any other questions? All right. Looking ahead, we've got another event in August. It's a 2-day event. It's Bug Fest at the Natural History Museum. And that, again, like the mosquito abatement is present, and they've got this really cool setup where they've got this plexiglass cage, and they put in some male bees that don't sting, so people can stick their hand through a sleeve and let the bees touch them. They're not supposed to touch the bees. So that's pretty interesting. And then again, we're there, we usually have, we don't do the photo booth and things like that because it's a smaller space. But sometimes we bring our microscope and they can look at bee parts because it's a much smaller size, or not as many people, say, for example, what we get at the fair or Ladybug. So it's easier to interact with people. And then the state fair, the 4th through the 14th, we're going to need 67 volunteers at least. And so I'll be bringing this up probably every meeting. And that, if you haven't done it before, that's a lot of fun. Vic, how many times did you volunteer last year?
I don't know if it's 4 or 6,
I don't
think
think
it
he
was
was
6 or 8.
I think that was 5.
I don't know, a lot.
All right, so we've got a coordination team. So Rebecca Williams and Rosemary Bennett are going to help me this year. If you would like to be involved, please let me know. Email me at my personal email address if you have suggestions on what you think we could do to spruce things up, make it more interesting, more interactive. Every year, the State Fair rewrites their handbook. And so hopefully this year will be the year that they get it all the way they want it. As soon as it's published, I will email it, because this year they're going to allow creamed honey, comb honey, and runny honey. But the judging is very specific. No lint, no fingerprints, no bubbles, no honey on the lid, just little things. And so I will keep you updated on that in case you want to start, when you collect your spring honey, if you want to keep a sample for the state fair and then keep it in a safe place. They've also had specifications on the size of the jar, the shape of the jar, the color of the jar. And because the state fair...
Did you tighten the jar with your right hand or with your left hand?
I wear gloves. Yeah. And for the last 3 years, we've been having t-shirts, so people who come to the fair know who we are, and then people wear the t-shirts when they go to Ladybug Festival or Bug Fest, for example. And so this is the design from last year. It was on a blue t-shirt. And so your t-shirt design could be anything. It could be more cartoonish. It could be funny. It could be ironic. It could be anything, but it has to be original. So no AI. Don't use whatever program and say Wasatch Beekeepers and a drunk bee or something. It's got to be yours. It can be hand drawn, or you can use a vector design making program. And I will include this in the next email that I send out. So that the design just shows up on the front of the t-shirt. You're allowed to have 2 colors. And if it's a white t-shirt, then essentially you would have 3 colors, white and then whatever 2 colors you choose. Your work needs to be original. You have to be an official member to participate. And then if you're not going to draw it by hand, using some kind of vector drawing software is best. And when you email your art project, just medium resolution, doesn't have to be super high quality. And then if your project is chosen, then we'll need the original file that's super better quality. And let's see here. The winning design becomes the property of the association, and the deadline is June 18th. And we're doing it early this year so that we're not scrambling to figuring out how to get the t-shirts to people and how many to buy, and then the printer telling us, oh, our machine just broke. So we're doing it early. And when you email your entries in, please put in the subject line, T-shirt design contest 2025, because then I'll go in and I'll take all those emails. And then the board will vote on it, and we'll choose one. Also coming up in November is our banquet, and our honey contest, and our silent auction. And so we need, can I get rid of that? Is that? Oh, you can't see it. It can be bee-themed items, it can be non-beekeeping stuff, you know, re-gift something. If you're cleaning out your garage and it's passable, bring it on, bring it to a meeting and we'll put it out on the at the banquet. You could do an experiential thing, like maybe it's dinner for 3 other people, 4 other people, or maybe you go take a hike, or maybe you know something about mushrooms and you take people to go hunt for mushrooms, something like that. So it doesn't have to be actually an object. We've had people who make quilts, who've made benches out of, these beautiful benches out of wood. It could be pickles or jam or anything like that. And it can be for adults, children, your pets, whatever. We're open to all items, all ideas. Okay, so quickly, any questions about the silent auction? Okay. So what are the bees doing this time of year? Populations are increasing. Swarm cells, supersedure cells are being built. Maybe you've got a queen from last year and you're noticing that there's a bunch of drone brood interspersed with your worker brood. So it gives you a clue that maybe she's running out of sperm and she's going to have to be replaced. Soon we're going to be hitting our nectar flow, and but we're still, because this is Utah and our Utah springs are unpredictable, if we get a couple of days of really cold weather or really rainy weather where the bees can't go out, but the populations are really high, that means they're going to go through their food pretty quickly. So you need to make sure that you think about checking in on your bees when you know the weather is going to change, maybe supplementing their food with some syrup. And now that the bees are starting their trajectory dramatically increasing, so is the mite population. Everybody's got mites, it's just how many. So make sure you keep an eye on that, keep looking for signs of disease, for uncapping, which is an indication that the bees are detecting mites underneath the capped cells, and treat appropriately. So there's a lot of activity, so there's a lot of debris. Help the bees out and clean out those bottom boards, remove the burr comb. If you've got a lot of hive turnover, or something's happening where you've got fighting going on and there's a bunch of dead bees, make sure you clear those all out. Hive tools. You should be cleaning them with at least a 10% bleach solution for 20 minutes. And especially if you have multiple hives. Like my hive tools that I use here, I do not use at Westminster where I take care of their hives. I don't use them at other people's hives when I inspect theirs. That is a great way to transmit disease from one apiary to the next. So please think about scraping your tools and sterilizing them between uses. All right, so you're looking for brood pattern, what the queen is doing. If you can't always see the queen, you can tell a lot by how she's laying or not and the pattern in which she's laying. If you've got a nuke or a package, you're going to want to keep feeding. You want to keep feeding until roughly 75% of your frames in that first brood box are drawn out and the population is higher. And then, add a honey super or a second deep box depending upon what your goal is. Is your goal to get honey, or is your goal to have a large population size going into winter? My suggestion would be increase that population size. From looking at all my data sheets for the last 7 years, those hives that had the highest population in October come out of winter really strong, and they have a high population going into early spring. And they always outperform all my other hives. that were a little weaker.
Some of that we kind of got to watch this year because the weather this year has been different. I don't remember getting this cold this late. It's like last week, pretty much, yeah, I was wearing a hoodie and the bees wasn't even out. I wanted to go inspect my hive, and for about a week, it was cold. So if you do have packages, yeah, make sure the feed, because if they run out of food, you'll lose your hives. Also, if you got existing hives, if it's cold like this, it's going to force them to swarm. So you need to also, if you got an existing hive, look for swarm cells more because of the cold weather. They're staying inside the hive, they're clustering. They kind of want to make more room. That because of the weather, we probably might have more swarms. They're probably not going to be as big as normal. And it's an interesting year. The weather has been different. They're even wondering if the fruit's going to freeze. I guess the freeze is coming up. So yeah, it's an interesting year. You got to watch the weather. You got to think like yourself. If you go hiking, you want water. If you're going to go to the desert, where it's actually cold, yeah, you want to make sure you got some feed for the bees. Sorry.
If you see one queen cell, you need to check the whole hive, because they hide those others.
Yeah, where there's one, there's probably
There's
14 more.
Quite a few, yeah.
All right, yes, keep feeding, especially if you're adding supers or another deep where it's just foundation. You can, for the super, if you are on top of it, put it on if it's all foundation without a queen excluder. And then once you see kind of a patch about this big of wax being put onto the frame, you can start adding the queen excluder because they know they want to go up and they know that comb needs to be built. And just about all of the foundation that you can buy says it has beeswax on it, but it's usually very little, and most of the time it's painted on, which is harder for the bees to work with. So take some of your, hopefully you have some old beeswax, and if not, talk to your mentor and they can give you some, and rub the beeswax on the frame. And of course it's a lot easier if you've melted that wax first and put it into like a muffin tin or something so you can hold on to it and use it like a crayon. And that really encouraged them to build more comb. All right. This time of year, be in your hives every 7 to 10 days. You want to be looking at how the population is increasing or decreasing. If you have swarm cells, if suddenly all you have are drone cells. If you need to provide more space, you can add another deep. You can do a split. There's a variety of ways of doing the split, or you can use the method we used in April, using the double screen divider board. You can use a checkerboard method, which I'll show you in just a moment, or the Demery swarm control method. So the checkerboard is just kind of how it sounds. You can either, can you guys see this? So this is, you got a full brood chamber, you've got a honey super, it's full, but then you have a bunch of frames with just foundation. So to encourage the bees to build more wax, you can checkerboard new frame with a resource frame, new frame, resource frame. You can also do the same thing with your brood chamber. You don't want to go crazy with it, but you can split the brood chamber a bit by adding frames, ideally with comb, if you're going to disrupt the integrity of the brood chamber. And that's one way to make the bees feel like suddenly there's a lot more space. And that will dampen their desire to swarm. The other method, the Demery method, I have not tried this before, but it's where you do a split, but it's all inside the hive. You're not introducing a new queen. So it tricks the colony into thinking that it's smaller than it really is, and then it has enough room to grow, and so the desire or the urge to swarm is suppressed. So this is one method. So black bars mean empty frames. The red are open brood, the green capped brood, stores honey, pollen, all honey, doesn't matter, and then the queen. So if you started out, and this was your initial setup where you've got 2 deeps, and for some reason there are 12 frames in this image. But anyway, so there's like 14 frames of brood here. What you can do is you leave the queen in the bottom. You put all the capped brood down with her. Then you add your honey super to encourage the bees to come up. It can be, both of these supers could be empty, it could be just new frames, or frames with just comb. And then you take the second deep and you put all the open brood up on top. Now you don't want to do that if we're going to have a really cold event, because you're splitting the workers, right? But the whole idea is you're trying to get nurse bees and the majority of the bees to move upward, so suddenly everybody feels like they have more room. With the demarine method, you need to make sure that you go in more frequently, because this is open brood, and cut out all the swarm cells you see for the next 5 to 7 days. And then you're set. And then once they're capped, you move them down. Once there's more open brood, you move it back up. This is kind of cumbersome to do with the Langstroth method, but it's supposed to, but that's what I'm going to be doing soon on the keeper's hive, because there's no going to be any lifting, because if you were out there, let's see, I have a slide here. Here's our 8-frame brood box. This would be a honey super, and then on top of that, that's where I would put a 5-frame deep box. And then I would just keep moving frames around.
Like
And then
stairs?
And stairs.
Looks like stairs.
It does. But you're seated the whole time.
I got a question.
Yes.
Do you have to, is it good to have a way for the drones to get out of that top of that?
Yes. So
They'll
you
just
need,
die on top of that queen excluder.
yep, so you have to have like your inner cover with a notch in it, or push this box back a little bit so that there's an entrance there. And again, that would only work if we're not going to get rain, or if it's going to get real cold. Yeah, but you need a way for you need a top entrance. Thank you for bringing that up. I forgot to mention this. All right, and then, so the rest of the information tonight, Kevin is going to present. Do you have your thumb drive? And he's going to talk about queen rearing. Huh?
15 minutes. There's a few pictures on there.
I have some oxalic acid towels here that for anybody that wants them.
Oh, that's right.
So,
And then Julie, if you ordered sponges from Julie Arthur, I have them here. And if you haven't paid for them yet, we can deal with that after the meeting. So
Yeah,
let's
he's
see.
got a few pictures on that one. Yeah, some of that, if you guys are actually using point excluders, I know a lot of commercial beekeepers also refer to them as a honey excluder. That if you do and it actually warms up, it's like she was telling you to actually slide the box back, give them an extra.
Is it in there?
It's like giving them an extra entrance on top, and it also helps with the air circulation. A lot of my hives, I actually like an inner cover or a lid that actually has got a notch in the front. It kind of gives them an extra entrance and ventilation.
I used to drill a hole in my tops, just drill a little bitty hole. And I found that to be quite effective.
And
And
you know,
then when it's cold, you just stick a cork in it.
even during the winter time, leave it open.
Yeah. 'Cause
That
you
way
want
to get
some-
air circulation in there, because if you actually plug that off during the winter time, lots of times you actually get
Condensation.
Yes,
condensation and mold on the inside, and
right, and you can put a little screen on the inside, so you still got circulation, but you don't have other bees coming in if you don't want it in and out, but you need the circulation.
there's a lot to see.
Do you need to see the pictures themselves? Okay,
Like, because I didn't know, I just,
like this? Okay,
can you actually watch it?
yes. How big do you want? Oops, I didn't go. So we'll share.
We didn't have much time to organize this, but
And,
what I need to do is lift it up so I can see the bottom ones.
okay.
What I was actually gonna do is talk about queens, not a lot of it, I actually go to California and actually get packaged bees. And I don't know if any of you have actually seen how they actually make packaged bees or the queens in California. It's actually get to be real, like, really can't see these two.
I'm looking for your cursor. These?
Yeah, but there's any way I can make. Anyway, what it gets down to is we had all these pictures on my phone, and basically we was trying to figure out how we got them on a thumb drive, and on our computer we could actually come up with the different pictures. But a lot of it, if you,
Maybe if we use this. Let's try this.
there, that's
Is that
better.
what you want?
That's more what I want.
Okay.
If you double click on it, get it to go big, and then use your right and left arrow keys, it should jump between them all if they're all highlighted. Does that make sense?
Some of it to get down there, where's the,
The one that's hot, there you go. Now try your left and right arrow keys.
now that blocks all the others.
Oh, we can't see the others, they're too small.
Oh, I can't see the others all there. Problem is where that came up, I can't see the,
Okay, how about this?
You need a whippersnapper.
I'm as
close as you get.
I'm as close as you get.
Yeah, okay.
that ain't mine, by the way. I seen one down, the guy down there, California that did it, his actually,
We can move this.
this ain't my laptop, so this is,
Not your fault.
trying to find, okay. Pretty much, for them to actually do queens down to California, they actually have numerous hives. That's one section where basically all they do is take the queen, or take the eggs out of that. If you actually look, that section there is where they get the queens. This one over here is actually where, after they actually get the eggs, they actually have one office, so they basically, all they do is pull an egg out of a frame and put it into a queen cell. They actually move it from one side to the other.
So artificial queen cells?
No, yes, bases.
Little cups, queen cups.
Queen cups.
They'll take the egg and take it out of the cell and put it in a base.
Grafted.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, pretty much they actually try to find the one I want. Sorry about that. We might just show all these pictures. Okay. That's not it. Now the problem is it's filling this up and I can't.
That looked like something I made at one time.
So if you wanna get
Click on the one that's too big, go to the left top corner, click the red button.
Oh, it gets rid of both. Okay, it's kind of real interesting if you get down there and see actually how they do these. What I'm actually trying to do is find the one that actually I think that's the picture I want, but it's not coming up.
Put the mouse in the top section, drag it up, like that.
Okay, this here is kind of the start of what, after you actually go out and see all the hives, this here is actually a queen cell cup. They actually get that, and if you can look at each one of these cells, they will actually put an egg into each one of those to actually make a queen. That's not it.
Nope.
Okay, I'm just going to explain what's going on, and then we're actually going to go through the pictures because I'm having a hard time with this. If you get down there to California, it's interesting how they do stuff.
Is that easier for you? These are bigger.
No, that's actually cool. But pretty much what they do is they actually got two sections of hives out and back. I'll go through all these pictures later and we'll just show you. They actually have one that does nothing but lays eggs. And if you actually watch that in the section at the beginning where the hives on this side, that's all they do is lay eggs. The section over here, that's all they do is actually put a frame of queen cells in there. They got a queen in the bottom laying eggs, but in the top, all they do is actually put frames in a queen cells and make the queens. And it's actually kind of interesting if you actually watch how they do it. It's all in timing, that they actually time it. That they make sure the eggs, when they actually make a queen out of them, are less than 2 days old. And then they actually put it in that cup. Wish I could find that other one. They put it in the cup and then they take it out to the other hives and they actually wait about a week, let them actually make the queen. Then you're going to have to actually take that out and actually put it like in a fruit dryer and they actually time it. And then afterwards what they actually will do is they will cut every one of those queen cells out.
When you say a fruit dryer, you mean it's
Incubator.
dry air?
They're incubating them.
It's an incubator.
Incubator, okay.
The closest thing I can say it's to is like a fruit dryer. It's an incubator, they put it in there to keep them to temperature. And then what they actually do is they will actually go out and actually cut every queen cell
So this would
and
be
actually
like
put them in their own
a capped queen cell?
capped queen cell.
When you say they cut them, what do you mean by cut? What do you
Take them
mean?
off that frame.
They're actually on a frame, they actually come and cut the top of it off.
Okay, so they're not using the little plastic NICOT cells or something?
Yeah, they don't cut it,
Okay.
they pull it off.
They actually cut it off, and these are queen boxes. They actually take these out to the building, every one of those, they will actually have 60 to 80 and just take them out in the truck and actually put them in a building where they actually know they actually got drones in there to actually do a mating flight. And then they will actually go collect all the queens. After they go out, they actually have somebody, if you actually seen that box at the beginning, they actually go out and open that box up, make sure she's laying eggs. If she's laying eggs, they actually put her in a queen cell, and that's how they sell the queens.
Queen cage.
Okay.
Queen cage, you said Sal.
Yeah.
A queen
So,
cage.
They're in a queen cage, so yes.
But she's laying before we put her in?
Yes.
Now, are
And
you
then it's even
saying,
weird, I got a video in here this last time I went out and got them, I actually seen how they were actually marking the queens. And we got the video here, we're gonna play it. It's actually weird, you actually see them actually knock the queen out, the queen's in their hand, and they move it around, put a dot on it, put it back in the queen cage. And it's actually kind of interesting, because I was there asking what happens if she gets loose or you lose the queen. Oh, not a problem, she comes up and she flies on this fluorescent light and you catch them and put her back in. That, we actually got a video here of them doing it, but we'll just kind of explain what's going on, and then we'll just go through the pictures one by one, and I'll actually tell you what the pictures are, and we'll actually look at that video. Also, what is the difference between a queen cell that the queen makes and a swarm cell? I don't know what I did, I said that kind of, so basically it makes you think. Does anybody know the difference?
Swarm cells are at the bottom of the comb, and supersede or emergency cells are up in the middle of the frame.
And why is that?
Probably, just to take an educated guess, it's probably because they have more space at the bottom of the frame.
When she does the queen cell at the bottom, she's intending to swarm and is making her replacement.
That's it.
The other one, the hive is basically determined that she's not capable and they are taking a.
The other one where it's up in the frame, it's actually the worker bees that decided to make a queen. So that is a difference between a queen cell and a swarm cell, because that is correct, and that's one thing we wanted to point out. If they are on the bottom, that is a queen intentionally making a new queen, and she is actually going to swarm. And you can try to knock them out. That is the best thing to do, and try to prevent her from swarming. Or if you're going to split, divide, that's, in my opinion, you can buy new queens, or if you got swarm cells on the bottom, you can actually split it that way. But that is the main difference between a queen cell and a swarm cell, is a swarm cell is always on the bottom of the frames, because the ones up in the frames, the worker bees actually make.
So I have a question. What if it's, I mean, I'm pretty sure it's a swarm cell, and what's odd is that it's on the foundation where there's really no drawn comb, it's just by itself.
Here, Brenda sent me the picture.
Yeah, there's one.
Yes, and I didn't know what to do, so I hope what I did last night was right. That's why
What
I'm here.
did you do?
Well, I thought, and what's odd is that I just split this hive 3 weeks ago. However, I had left the queen in the hive, in this hive, but I did a big split because it was really populated. And so what I ended up doing is I took the queen, did another split, just a small split so that they hopefully won't leave,
No, this is what she's.
and left the swarm cell in the mother hive.
In the mother hive.
Yes.
Okay. I think I kind of would have done it a little bit different, but that works.
So.
The other thing I want to say is that there's numerous ways to do beekeeping. Usually it's what works best for you. What I think I would do is I actually would leave the original queen in the original position. The one with the queen cell, I would usually put that in a different location, because they actually say the queen rarely leaves the hive. But I know some people, and one of the people I used to talk to was Maurice Coble. He was part of the Wasatch Beekeepers Association a long time ago. He used to do pollen traps. And on the pollen trap on the front of the hive, he every now and again would catch the queen, which means the queen actually left the hive and came back in. They say they never really do leave the hive, but they also say a queen, if you got some honey on the top, the queen rarely will cross the honey and go up into the honey supers. But
They do.
there's times they do, because lots of times I run a lot of hives, and every now and again, I'll have about 3 or 4 that the queen actually does a chimney effect and go up through the top, because I really don't use queen excluders much. Lots of times, if I actually got enough honey on that top box, the queen rarely crosses the honey, and the majority of the time, she never goes up. But I always have a few times that she does.
So if they had already built this swarm cell, and they had plenty of room, they had 5 empty frames, so they had a lot of work to do. But yet, she builds this swarm cell, then why leaving her in that mother hive? Because my thought was, well, they're wanting to swarm, so if I leave her here, tomorrow I'm gonna come and half my bees are gonna be gone. And I'm gonna be left with this little teeny colony.
The
with-
reason you do that, and the main reason, you actually want to split it so if they do swarm, you're not going to lose as much. But if you actually move that and move the majority of bees and actually go into that existing hive and do like that one demonstration they had where you actually have the 2 bottom brood boxes, move that top one up and put an empty box inside there. And if you do that, that actually gives them space to where they really probably won't swarm.
So add another box in between. Even though they had so much room.
How much room did they have?
They had like 5 empty frames, because I just split that hive 3 weeks ago.
Even 5 empty frames. There's times that basically if it's cold weather, they feel clustered,
Well, and it's been cold, I'm in
It's been cold.
Kansas.
and that's a lot of the problem. That's why there's probably going to be a few more swarms this year than other years. If they're cold, you got to think the bees, okay, if they're doing their natural tendency, they're out foraging. And you got a lot of them out foraging. But if it's cold weather, the majority of bees that are out foraging and not cramped in the hive, I'm trying to figure that. It's kind of like you're having a party at your house and it rains outside. What happens?
Everybody goes in.
House gets crowded.
Yeah.
Everybody comes inside. It's the same thing with your bees. If it's cold weather and the bees aren't foraging, they feel clustered because everybody's in there. It's cold weather, they want to get out.
Okay. Yeah.
It's a tendency that it makes them want to swarm.
Well,
If
and
they
this-
were actually foraging, and when they're foraging, you got to think during the daytime, the majority of bees are out flying and coming in and out.
Sure.
So they're not quite as crowded. But if you got cold weather and it stays cold for about a week, they're all inside and they're like, it's pretty much like having a party at your house and it rains outside and everybody's coming in
Yeah.
and it's crowded.
They wanna do something, so they
They
start
wanna do-
making queens.
They want to do something and they figured, hey, let's split, this is too crowded, let's get out of here. That's why a lot of it is weather related.
So you would have split it, you would have either separated the boxes or done another split and taken. and
Yeah, I
left
probably would have
it.
moved that queen cell over into another box,
Okay.
another hives. But it's also, how much honey do you have in the hive? Yeah, also with this cold weather, you want to make sure if you do split,
Yeah,
there is enough ample food in that other split, that if it, because I'm sorry, it turned cold for about a week.
yeah.
You got to make sure there's enough food in your split for a week for them to get by.
And there is in both.
And if not, make sure you actually have a feeder on top and check the feed.
Yeah. Thank
So-
you.
What the demo ray does is it puts the super in between the broods, and so it makes them think that there is actually 2 hives. There's enough room that it's like splitting it but keeping it all in one column. So that's where if you split them that way, you'll keep all of it into one hive, and so it stays stronger.
Yeah, I like that better.
Okay, and I'm just gonna go quickly through all these pictures so you can see. But this here is, the queen cages. First, do we have any questions?
You had said that they took the queen and put her in a box with a bunch of drones.
No.
No, they actually put the queen in these boxes.
In the building.
And then they actually take them out to a building.
They can
The
fly.
box?
They can fly out of those boxes and go mate.
But they just mating in a building?
In the building is what it sounded like.
So they can.
If you can actually look at that picture, that box, it's about that big,
Uh-huh.
probably about that tall. It's actually got 4 frames, they're about that big. And there's actually one of them, what they do is they actually, I got a picture here, I'll show you. They actually put the queen cell in it, then they have 2 frames, and then they actually got a feeder in the back, and they actually put a cup, literally a cup of honeybees in that, and take it out to the field.
Oh, okay. So
And they're
they-
taking care of her.
Yeah, okay.
Yes, that cup of bees will take
These are the boxes they use to actually take the queens out.
Okay, so she's mating out in the wild, out.
No, in a
No,
building.
they're in a building where they can control the genetics.
How big is the building?
Oh, okay.
She makes.
Simulated one.
Mile high.
Okay, here's a better picture of that box with the lid on it. They actually put a rubber band around it.
Spare no.
There is what's inside the frame. There's 3 boxes, and if you look at that back, it's actually just a feeder.
3 frames and a feeder.
So this is real factory queen rearing.
Yes.
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
Now,
This is also a frame that they actually, you can see the slots here. If you seen that picture I showed at the beginning where it actually has those cups, you fit 4 of those on there.
And hang it in a.
This is actually where I go to actually get my packages and that, and this is actually the 2nd week in April when I actually went down there. I actually like getting my queens and packages from CF Conants, because as you can see in this, I actually took a picture of the truck because I can't remember the date. They have actually been doing queens and packages since 1907.
What company is this?
CF Conants. This is one I was actually going to show you. This is actually a box they actually use when they're actually making packages. You can see that box on the bottom. It's actually a screen box, and it's got a funnel up on top. And it's interesting how they actually make packages. I'll explain that in a minute. This is actually more how they make packages. If you see that metal can there, it actually's got, well, that's not, okay.
Top left, red.
This one was,
Nicole, just turn it all the way off.
I can't.
Oh.
The lights never actually go all the way off in the building.
this is actually what they actually take out to where they're actually, if you can see there's like 6 boxes there. It's actually a stool that they actually go out to actually check on the queens, and you'll find out on the back of that, they actually have nothing but queen cages. There's another picture of their apiary. And it's interesting, this is the one they actually, if you can see there's a feeder can on top and there's only 1 box. They actually go into these hives almost on a daily basis to get queens.
eggs.
There's actually one of their cages that is nothing, one of their boxes, and if you can see that box, that is full of nothing but queen cages, and every one of those has got a queen in it. I think this is the one I actually liked.
Yeah, they're mated queens, that's
Sure,
it's
we
like a
can turn this.
clamshell that they put together.
I don't know how if I can turn this.
It's a video, so you probably can't.
This is the interesting one. Those are queen cages. See that guy there? He's actually marking queens. Look at how he does it. He gets them out, knocks them in his hand, puts a dot on them, He's done.
$10 a time.
Putting a cork in it.
There's actually a queen there and it's got the cork in and he's taking the cork out, taking the queen out, marking it. He's done.
You sure you haven't sped that up?
Nope.
He's gonna put it
That's what's weird, and I even asked that guy.
Now, he just knocks it into his hand
Yes,
and dots it.
yes.
Wow.
Okay, there we go.
I guess if they don't give him time to sting you, they're not going to.
Yeah, it's interesting if you actually see how,
I think I will pass on that job.
That's just one of his jobs.
So the queen's less likely to sting you anyway.
okay, how do I scroll
She only
down?
uses a stinger to kill the other female.
Oh,
They got a stinger, but they don't have barbed.
that's one I actually want to bring up, is that one there. I think that's the one that's,
So you've got multiple images highlighted, and so that's why they're showing.
I think that's the one that actually, if I'm not mistaken. Oh. And see what they actually do when I say they actually take that queen, cut her off. If you've seen that frame that had all the queens, they actually cut it off, get some wax, stick it on one of these frames, take it out. Okay, how does...
Yeah, this is all of them, and then you just shove them down with 2 fingers. Which one are you wanting?
There should be more.
Actually, so let's look.
31 on it.
Okay, so there's 6 of each row. Do you want to sort them into the movie?
I'm looking for one that actually has the queen. Sorry, this is not my laptop.
Okay, so let's do this.
That's the one you have up.
That's the one on your right,
What, so
or
go to the
left,
side. This is all good.
your other right.
So.
So when I say an incubator, there's queens.
Yeah, those are all queen cells.
And that's kind of like what I said in a fruit dryer. Every one of those, you can see they actually do a time. They put it in there. And then this is also, I wish they were there when I was there, and I wasn't there today. There's 2 ladies that sit in there and pretty much with the magnifying glass actually move the queens from a frame into one of those queen cells. Also, it's really interesting. Has anybody ever seen how they do make the packages you guys get?
A lot of the local guys do it by smoking it rather than shaking it.
Okay. Yeah,
In primary in California, the way they still shake them.
California, they kind of use the reverse method I use when I actually extract my honey. Have any of you ever seen anybody use the fume boards to extract honey. Okay, if you ever see a fume board to extract honey, and that's how I actually do it, and maybe I'll actually even show you guys how easy it is. To extract honey with the fume board and how the commercial guys do it, it's real easy. It's got to be a nice warm day. You have a fume board that actually goes on top and it's black. And you actually put an odor on the bottom, and the bees, they really don't like it. But I will tell you this, the product does.
What's it smell like?
Lots of times what you do, the commercial guys, how they extract their honey is they have about 5 of those. And they will actually go out to their hives and they will put 5 on. Okay. By the time they're actually done putting 5 on, you can come back to that first one and you can probably take 2 boxes off, all the bees are out of it. And then you move it over and you just keep going. And as long as you got 5 of them, as long as that's on there for about 10-15 minutes, it literally does force the bees out. If you actually don't take it off and you leave it on, you will actually force them all out through the front entrance, and you'll see them swarming on the front entrance. How they actually make packages in California, and if you ever watch and observe it, it's actually really interesting and really nice. Does any of you ever or have seen a box of comb honey? Or know what a box of comb honey is? It's kind of a shallow super.
Oh, yeah.
It's actually got dividers in it. That's pretty much one of the things they actually end up using. But they do it backwards of what I do when I actually try to force the bees down to take my honey off. They actually come up, and we'll finish going through all these pictures here, but it actually looks like a little piece of wood to actually go in and actually pull pizza out of a pizza oven. And what they do is they actually put a chemical on that. Instead of me putting the chemical on the top, they put it on the bottom. And what they do is they first off go out to the hive and they make sure it's a strong, healthy hive. It's got a lot of bees in it. They'll take the top off. They put one of those boxes on top, and on the bottom of that box, they actually put a queen excluder in there, and then they put that box on top. They stick that, I don't know a better word for it,
Stink
but I'd say
bait.
pizza flipper piece of wood underneath there, and it actually
A
forces,
paddle? Is it a paddle?
like a paddle.
So it's covered with this stuff that stings.
It's a chemical.
And drives the bees up,
It drives the bees up.
and then they go.
They have a queen excluder there, so no drones, no queen can come through.
Right.
They have a box up on top that actually's got dividers in it. And it actually forces the bees up into that.
The cages for the nuke cages.
But the nurse bees are not gonna come up though.
They're gonna shake them out into that funnel and collect them and put them in.
Okay.
The nurse
packs
bees are gonna
and put
stay
them
with
in
the
there
brood.
yourself.
So you're getting old bees when you take them.
Not all of them. It's like when I actually put that fume board on the top, I'm forcing all the bees down. All the bees. They put that underneath. If the queen could actually get away and the drones could actually get through that queen excluder, they'd be up in that box too. That it forces them all out. And that's why, yeah, a lot of your packages, they do it every so often that you do have a lot of the younger bees in your packages when they do it that way. Because they actually will go out, they actually have it on a time frame. They go out there about every week. And they will take whatever bees they can that comes up through that queen excluder, put them in a cage, put them in your package. So what they do is they actually force those bees up, and then they actually take that box off, and I actually got a picture of the thing they actually knock it down in. They actually knock them in a funnel down into a cage. And then after that, that cage has actually got a sliding gate on the side, and there's another funnel. And they put that on top of the packages, and they put that package on a scale, and they actually open it up, and they actually put 3 to 4 pounds of bees into each cage. So it's interesting to watch them if you ever see them. And doing that, it's easy for them to make anywhere from 500 to 800 packages in a day. And it's like on the queens, they make numerous queens.
$180 a piece.
Okay, how do I, is there a way to go to all the pictures? I'm just gonna go through all the pictures and just explain the stuff.
Quick,
Just do the slideshow.
Highlight all the pictures.
Do you guys have any questions, or have you ever seen this?
How big is the building that they let the queens fly in?
They don't fly in the building, they
Like,
fly out in the yard.
it's actually a big shop that they actually put them in.
But they stay in the building to do
They
the
stay in the
mating.
That's how they can actually guarantee it's a true Cardinalian or a true Italian, because they actually,
They sequester them.
even if,
Alright, so,
but I'm just gonna click on all the pictures. We're just gonna go through all the pictures
okay.
and
Make
explain
it-
things.
Okay.
So highlight them all.
Here's one you seen at the beginning with, okay,
If you've got sponges from Julie, make sure you don't leave without them. You'll get mine so I don't forget it, and I did pay for it. Alright.
okay, now can I just go from one to the other?
Okay, that was
What kind of, go through all the pictures.
right. Be careful, I have a cut and it just started burning. Somebody asked on the outside.
A lot of bees, I think,
Sorry, I'm not computer savvy.
I can't even find the arm switch, much less anything else.
married when I first was here. Part of Anyway, so I work.
Did I take your
Okay, this one is kind of dark, but that's actually the box they actually will shake the bees up into.
Oh, milkweed, oh. Milkweed.
There's the,
Two fingers to go up and down. No, 2 fingers, like that.
okay, that's actually the box they actually use to shake them down into. You can see how there's a funnel there. If you actually get the big box, they shake them down into that. If you look at that cage, that's actually the cage they actually put them into. Okay, the waffle board I was talking about that they actually put in the entrance to actually shake them up, that is it. They actually put a chemical on that board and they will actually,
How many can I have? They had 4. You don't have that.
You want 2?
here again is the apiary.
So the little smokestack on top, is that food?
Those are
Yeah,
feeders,
that's
right?
actually feeder cans.
Feeder can.
That's the other thing that's interesting. If you go out to see up Conan's and actually see how many bees and packages and queens they make, do you realize they never harvest a honey bear off of all their bees.
He needed.
All they do
He
is
needed-
queens and bees. During the off season, they actually don't produce any.
So they just feed to make them, oh, well, they're in California,
Yeah,
Southern
they actually got them
California.
in, and,
And
we call them almonds up here. You go down to California, call them almonds. They'll
They
get
call
upset.
them almonds.
They're almonds.
salmons.
Yep.
Just like
They actually have them in the almond orchard, and there pretty much is no feed during the off season. They literally have to feed their bees to keep them alive.
Right.
Call me when you're on workout.
Yeah.
They really, they look pretty strong.
Next time I got to try and do. That's all right. I had a hard time figuring out how to.
And I heard that one day the next ship's gonna show up.
Oh, yeah.
And you take the day.
Oh, yeah, somebody did, and I stayed there.
But
Are
it
you
is,
finished?
you go down there and see how they, it's an interesting process, and it's amazing what they do.
When I did
And
mine in
it's
the
even like that guy in
backyard.
Queens.
Yeah.
Saturday.
There's also one lady in there with the eggs moving up from a frame into that cell. They're just about just as fast.
I've read about grafting and they say that it's all technique, so if that's all you did, it's your technique.
A lot of it with queens is also timing. You gotta watch the timing of that,
To get the right egg.
yeah, if one egg hatches early, you got problems. And
Well, if that's what they do, they probably do it very well, you know?
Exactly.
No,
It is
Yeah.
yeah, they probably ship out,
And like I said, they're not leaving, so.
they ship out probably anywhere from 500 to 1,500 packages on a daily basis. And if you think how many queens they gotta to wear to do that, and they're constantly replacing them, going out, and they probably got full-time staff. It's like the ladies that actually moved egg from Ukraine, they got 2 ladies that do that 40 hours a week. And that's all.
It's a pleasure.
And it's like that guy, yeah, if you see how he marks the queens,
Oh, he was fast,
More questions coming up.
fast.
it's even the lady that does the eggs, I mean, she's a lot faster.
Where are you?
Well, thanks for sharing those with us.
Yeah, how about you?
I gotta pick my husband up, so.
Okay.